Hi, I'm Bernd Ludwig. I live in Germany, Heidelberg. I'm a philosopher and an anti-fascistic freedom fighter, a revolutionary. And I fight every day for the poor, for those who starve in North Korea, for those who have to suffer from the COVID lockdown policy in China. There are millions of Chinese people who have to live from about $5 a day. I'm for the weak, especially for the weak women, what I would never detect my whole life. I ever dreamt about this, but I think I have to. I will continue to dream about this, that a woman detects that I am a feminist. And my work and my thoughts are especially also about the poor people in South America and especially in Africa, where I only have been twice, in Morocco, and this is very long, more than about 40 years, more than 40 years ago. Yeah, Germany pretends to be a democracy and a state of right. And I say there can't be a bigger lie. I get attacked not only by my own parents, my father, and especially my father, but also my mother. They are fascists. I have two sisters, a younger and an older one. 1 year older and 2 years younger. And they don't help me, although I have expressed them that I'm in a very urgent situation. I have a daughter, she is 30, and since 10 years she she started to ghost me. So she did not tell me why she cut off all contact to me. I have no idea why. The only thing I can imagine is a political fight. So she is on the side of the fascists. And you know, stupid people, or when I was young, I thought fascists are people who want Adolf Hitler back in Germany. People who want to fight to make the next world war and to kill communists and Jews in concentration camps. Today I say there is a terror coming from the middle of the society. And this terror is taking place by just not taking responsibility for political actions here in Germany. Done by themselves. They don't go to parties to discuss the subject, and they don't control the police and the courts. They say, oh, come on, they are so well educated. They have studied the rights. And the police, of course, they have the monopoly on violence. And I'm not against this in the theory. But the problem is that of course, they shall they shall stop violence and look at criminals, but they just, at least in my case, I am convinced the German courts, the German psychologists, and the police, and all authorities, and also my health insurance company, they all stick together and do illegal things. They try to destroy me. And I know, of course, that my life is still quite okay. If I look in a materialistic way, I have a flat, I have enough clothes for the winter, I can eat, I have good food, I get health insurance, and I get some money every month, 450 euros. So I guess my financial or materialistic situation is, I guess, better than at least 2 billion people, but I guess I'm about in the middle. I'm getting better off than about 4 billion people on this planet. Yeah. The fascist people, they always say, why do you complain? Why do you speak so much against our politicians, against our system, if your life is so good? But you know, I always was fighting for democracy. Democracy means that everybody can speak about everything, and it also means that everybody can take part of decisions, of decision making, and influence political decisions. But today I say we are no democracy at all in Germany, and the difference to Russia is small, and only the difference to China and North Korea especially is big. Yeah. The funny thing is that I'm getting 60 in this May 11, and my complete life was destroyed by secret agents. I'm absolutely convinced about that. I guess if you live in Africa, you cannot imagine that there are also people fighting for you. Oh yes, I'm fighting for the weak. I'm fighting against exploitation, against hegemonism, and not only of Germany and whole Europe, but also against the hegemony, against the aggressive acts of the United States of America, who always claimed to be a free country. How ridiculous this is. I wanted to visit the US, and they asked me, there was a paper, I had to fill it out, about, I don't know, maybe 6 pages. They wanted to know what I have been studying, when and where. Hey, come on, it's ridiculous. I stopped it. I thought, no, this is not the country I want to have some vacations, and I don't want to spend my money to such people. I stand for freedom, and I fight against tyranny, against those who oppose freedom. Yeah, about the Ukraine war, which is going at the moment. I claim to be extremely wise. I guess I'm the wisest guy in the universe, the wisest living guy. I'm quite convinced about this. If you know somebody else, write it down into the comments. I think there is only Noam Chomsky, a Jewish American philosopher. I like his ideas. He is old and he is also, let's say, kind of fighting. I guess he has security personnel. He has no problems with the authorities like me. And guess what? Today I received a letter in which they have written they are thinking about putting me into psychiatry. You know, in Russia, this was a common method to destroy dissidents. And I am happy that I read so much, because in the German Wikipedia there is written that also in Germany there is proof that some people who work for the state, who are controlling companies, if they are criminals, like Volkswagen, you know, the Dieselgate. I had such a Volkswagen Diesel, so I was hit by this lie, which also destroys trust, worldwide trust into Germans. This were about 30 billion euros was the damage. That's 10% of the GDP of Germany. So of total costs in Germany from 1 year. We also had Wirecard. They made a loss of 3 billion euros just by lying about the money they are making. And so some people whose job is to take control and to look if there are criminals, they were brought into psychiatry. This is written in the Wikipedia, and I'm happy to know this, because I can see this is a system. This is a system to tear people down, to bring them down, to bring them to fall, to make them suffer. And I suffer very hard, because I live since 12 years in Heidelberg, and I have no friend, not a single one, and my whole family does not take care. And my mother, well, I also have to fight against her, because she is sadistic, and she does not believe she is sadistic. People think I exaggerate, or I have no competence, but you know what? I'm the psychiatrist of society. This is what I'm saying, and because the problematic about fascism is that everybody is a fascist. You know, in a psychological way, in a political way, and there is a sickness called normopathia. This is a fear to act different than your friends or your family. And this disease is completely, absolutely normal here in Germany. Yeah, I want to tell you why my parents are sadistic. The reason is because I'm getting tortured by terrible, horrible, I can't describe these noises. I'm terrorized by noise. yeah, of course. I also I thought maybe the police can help me. Oh no, they just uh, made a fake visit to me. Oh no, they were not interested. Of course not. It's the German state who is torturing me 24 hours, 7 days a week since the beginning of Corona, and no one in Heidelberg, and I've told this about 3,000 to 6,000 persons in the last 2 years. I told them, can you please help me? I'm getting tortured. And guess what? Nobody was interested. So this is my situation here in Germany. So Germany is again a dictator, a country with dictatorship. This time I guess it's not only one dictator, but many dictators. But you know, I don't know. I don't know. There are many people who dictate, and you don't know. You won't know them. You have never heard their names. They are working completely in the secret, completely hidden. And this was the reason why I thought I had 3 friends. I have to correct this. In my video some days ago, I thought I had 2 male friends, but I forgot one. You know, I haven't met him often. So, you know, the intention of these friends was to listen what I think, what I do, to look if I buy a rifle. Well, I never wanted to do this because I never thought this would be smart to shoot somebody because then I would go to jail, and that's not worth it. If all the people want to be slaves, of course they have the right to be slaves, and I often ridicule this by telling the people, oh yes, of course, you want to pay more taxes. Yes, then you're happy if you pay much more taxes. And you'll get unhappy if you find a new flat, a cheap new flat, which is really nicely located, clean and quiet in the nature. No. And you are happy if you don't get any insurances like me. You are happy. You only get happy if you see the police is not to secure you, but only to secure a fascist dictatorship. Yeah, that's what they need, what they want. And of course, this is very sad, but it is how it is. Yeah, the capitalism. Karl Marx, with his book The Capital, he has made a new theory about values, how economic values are produced. Pierre-Joseph Proudhon, they knew each other, and I like what one sentence of him: Eigentum ist Diebstahl, private equity is stealing, or possession is stealing. This is very famous, and I also like, he wrote a letter to a woman and he has written in the 4 pages you sent to me, there are 80 intellectual flaws, errors. Okay, maybe it's not true, it haven't been 80, but if you are a genius like me, then it gets ridiculous to believe that there are women who have a broader view, a deeper view on society, on nature, on the universe. I can't imagine, and guess what? If any woman can argue, write it down in the arguments, in the comments, write your name, write what is false about my speech, right? That if you think you are more clever than me, come on, let's phone together. We will check it out. We will have a dispute. I would love to have a dispute with a woman. But I can't imagine because they have a lot of fear. They are cowards, just as the men. The men in capitalism are castrated slaves. They don't want to fight for freedom, for their rights, against oppression. Oh no, there are much more important things like climate catastrophe. Of course, I'm, not eating meat, the rights of women, the rights of homosexuals, Black Lives Matters. Come on, there are many ridiculous things, These things, these points I just told, they are not ridiculous, not at all. But the ridiculous thing is that nobody realizes that by divide et impera, divide and reign, we should all walk together. Then the system would crash. And especially in Germany, would be so easy because we have a social system. If you don't work, you get money. So if everybody, let's say if 2 million Germans would just stop working, well, we would have a complete new system. We could have a complete new state. And I would call it not Bundesrepublik Deutschland, but Free Republic Germany. This would be the name for the state I would like to found, but it is very unlikely. And I can see it by the numbers of viewers from my YouTube videos. They are in comparison to the knowledge I am telling you, to the revolutionary aspect. They are much too low. But I have to speak about social media, like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and so on. I have, of course, I was working as a software developer, as a freelancer, and I have no idea if I'm wrong, so please write it down. But I am quite sure, not 100%, but I'm quite sure that the secret services, they cooperate and they just don't tell the algorithm which tells you what to consume, which video to look at, or which news to look at in Twitter. So I can imagine that when I created an account in Twitter about 6 weeks ago, I can imagine that they already had my email address. And from the first day on, they already knew, oh, it's an enemy of Germany. So we will cheat him. Please consider, I'm not saying they are cheating, okay? I'm just saying that I believe they are cheating. There's a big difference. I say democracy nowadays is ridiculous if not experts are able to look at the algorithms. I forgot Google search engine. If if independent software developers are not allowed to look at this source code, or let's not independent, let's say everybody, because the so-called independents, they are often by the state-owned agencies or clubs which are lying, This would be in a real democratic if everybody could look at the algorithm and see, no, they are not cheating. At least my feeling is that I am twittering very important things and good stories and good ideas. and I have no follower at all. It is ridiculous, but maybe it's only this. It's not Twitter. It's only the stupidity, the fascism, the normopathic fascism. So they think he must be an enemy. I have to be an enemy of freedom because I'm so strange. Because I criticize the politicians and the journalists who are lying to us, just like in Russia and in China. Yeah. Yeah. So I am getting tortured and destroyed by the secret agencies since I was born. This is my feeling. But of course, a 5-year-old child is not so important. I think I was the first time they produced a record of me when I was about 10 or 11 years old and was helping a priest, a Catholic priest in Portugal where I rose up. I helped him in a mass, to pray. I helped him to pray. I gave him the wine and the bread, and I made bing-a-ling-a-ling. And you know, the Vatican is my most loved and hated enemy. So I hoped, I would be so happy if I knew that the Vatican has destroyed my life. But as I am realistic, I think it's a terror organization that claimed to be a democratic, free country called Bundesrepublik Deutschland. But to be clear, it could also be radical women because they must misunderstand me. For example, if I write, I have one in German, sind Frauen primitive Gebärmaschinen, are women primitive machines to give birth. Well, you know, many women are also they love also violence, and yeah. So it could also be a violent female terror organization who are destroying me. I don't mind. I don't care. And of course, it could also be black people. You know, I say clear that intelligence has to do with race, and it's not because I'm against blacks. And black lives do matter. No, it's not because I want to feel superior. No, not at all. I'm for. I think those shall get money who work better and stronger. Yeah. Beside the gender and the race cannot be the point. This shall not be that a white guy just gets more money because he's white. Come on, this is against my. I'm fighting against this. Well, and 2 years ago, 2 years ago, if you would have told me the whole state, all authorities are destroying you by secret agents, I would have said, well, I'm not so important. Why? I have not one follower. I'm completely isolated as somebody can be. And this shows how good they were destroying me. I couldn't imagine. So they are extremely professional in destroying people. Yeah, and they destroyed very often my bicycle and my cars. No, they did not bring a fire, so my whole car, not my whole car was blown up, no. But they often, destroyed made a little destroyings. So you know, you know, if you don't have much money, This is not nice. This is hate. This is violence. And I thought, okay, maybe my neighbor, he is a fool. One of my neighbors, he parked his car next to my car and he crashed a little bit into my car. And, I'm 100% sure he is a secret agent. He looked young, he pretended to, I guess he is a young student. And it was a mess, and it cost me 1 week to organize the repair, to speak. I also told the police he had hit my car. I wanted to be nice, but he was very bad guy. He, of course, because my whole life I was always positive to people. He said he has no money to pay for the repair, and I said if he could spend the money in small amounts every month, and I said okay, yeah, why not? I like to help people, and this is so cruel. It drives me so mad that I did not realize. This is about 4 years ago this has happened. I didn't realize that he is a secret agent. And, I said, yeah, okay, then pay it in small amounts. But guess what? It turned out he wouldn't pay these small amounts. So he made me suffer. He annoyed me. Yeah, and then I let the car repair, and guess what? There is a signal light on the front, on the right. If you change your direction, I don't know the English word, it flashes. And I didn't realize when I took the car home, when I got it, I didn't realize this flash was broken. So I had to go again to the repair station and tell, hey, the flash is not going. This costs energy. This costs energy. And at least I realized I'm not allowed to have a car and I'm not allowed to work. Yes, they say I'm too lazy to work. I say, no. If I want to work, and I want to work this what I'm made for. I'm made for being Bundeskanzler, the boss of Germany. And sometimes I say, if the slaves would realize something, they would say, Bernd for dictator of universe, because Bernd can build a paradise, because he has this extreme knowledge. But, and nobody realizes that I have no work, because I don't hit the other people. I'm always polite. Yes, this is how I am. And I'm the contrary of Machiavellism. And this is what my father is. He walks over dead people. He don't mind. He don't care if somebody is dying. I was dying my whole life. Yes. So I'm very angry, and I have the right to be angry. Because these are no values, but to say it in the words of Nietzsche, Umwertung aller Werte, it's the exchange of all values. Good is gone bad, and bad is gone good. Yes, I'm convinced about this. So I'm very radical against the Christian fascists, especially the Vatican. And I tell you why. There are some laws in the Bible. The first law is, you shall have no other God beside me. This is the same what Adolf Hitler said. He said, I'm the boss, and I'm the only boss. And if you think you can demand something, hey, there's a wall, we will shoot you. Go to the wall, you get shoot now. This is authoritarianism, and this is what I hate. And democracy is the opposite of authoritarianism. And I like Karl Popper, open society, and not all hidden. And what is hidden about the church? Everything. Ask them where they got all the money from and what they possess. Just ask them, what do you possess? Ask the Pope. You will get, this is none of your business. This will be the answer. And you might get the troubles I'm getting. You might also get really destroyed your complete life. Yes, I mean it. I mean it really. Yeah. So the value. So okay, this is authoritarianism. Then there is one. You shall not steal something. But come on, look, what is capitalism? Capitalism is the idea that the capitalist is allowed to steal from the workers. It's nothing else. And as far as I remember, I've never read something that the church had a different idea how financial values are gained. Karl Marx had this very good idea, and I think this idea is correct, where the profit comes from. So, to say it clear, if the Vatican has no idea where the values come from, then Karl Marx must be right. And if Karl Marx is right, then capitalism, at least how it is implemented today, is not compatible with Christianity at all. I'm happy to being able to tell this, because otherwise you will think I'm just a hater, somebody who hates Christians. No, I say if the idea of Jesus Christ was to love the next, then I am Jesus. Yes, this is my philosophy. Yes, oh, oh yes. And if somebody gets killed like Jesus, it's me. He also was a political freedom fighter. Yes? But the funny thing is, nobody knows if the story is true. We have no historical proof if he existed. And that's not a problem. If you want to believe this story, just believe it. I believe more that the story of Socrates is true. And I think he was a genius. He was a wise man. He was somebody who I would like to speak to. Yeah, and there are many other great philosophers who had better ideas than Jesus. So why pick an average guy? Well, maybe it is because the average guys are fascistic and they shall identify themselves with somebody who is not really good in thinking. Yeah, and I read very much every day, and I read a lot about Soziologen in German, philosophers and politicians and political people who make political theories like Machiavelli. And they all claim, I'm for freedom, I'm for equality or for justice, I'm stand for the values of enlightening, of the French Revolution, égalité, liberté, fraternité. They all claim it, but come on, it is so ridiculous. Nobody helps me. Heidelberg is a city with the oldest German university. Come on, and nobody is interested in my story. Even the historians could write down my story because my story is interesting. I have a lot to tell and I had a lot of adventures in my life. Yeah, but you know, they are mad. They are sick in their brains. Especially if you analyze the social events, happenings, relations the elections, the values, and so on. And nowhere in this fake, lying mass media, you can read that the Secret Service is having a huge influence in our society, destroying people and making them mad. So they go to psychiatry, so they drink alcohol, so they smoke cigarettes, so they get real hard depressions. So they work like mad to achieve a stupid goal. They turn their bodies and their brains into machines without any feeling. They are they are terrorists. They are terrorists, and this is the average German man I'm talking about, and especially those who claim to be intellectuals. You know, there are two organizations in Germany where I had more or less a contact. They made events, branches in Heidelberg, Mannheim, Weinheim, and Karlsruhe. I joined these events. These events were organized by the Verband Deutscher Humanisten, organization of German humanists, and the Giordano Bruno Stiftung organization. It's called Giordano Bruno, and they are against religion, or they claim to be against religion, but they are not at all. Their religion is the power, and they kicked me out in a very authoritarian style. I had no chance. I had to go out, and this made me cry. You know, they hit me, this destroyed me, because it was a social event. This was important for me, and I thought they would be friends, but I'm convinced at least half of those who showed up to these events were secret agents. So, well, what shall I do? I was thinking maybe to go to the event and stand in front of the house and give the people paper where I write that I was kicked out in a totally authoritarian, in a fascistic manner. You know, these people claim to be thinkers. They claim to be philosophers. And if you are a philosopher, then you think, of course, about justice. And it is never just to kick somebody out of a social circle, because this hurts, without asking him, without discussing, without letting everybody in a democracy, without letting everybody decide. We can raise our hands if somebody is really too fascistic, really annoying. Of course we can get rid of him. But this cannot be done in an autocratic, in a dictator, in a way like dictators work and argue. This is not possible. So we have a dictatorship here in Germany, a fascist dictatorship. And I think it's also very ridiculous if the fascists, they argue the Muslims are such bad people, and they are so violent, and they don't want to integrate. Yes, I agree. There are some Muslims who don't want to and can't get integrated because they are too old. And but I'm convinced that this problem of Muslim integration is also caused by the Christians, not only by the Muslims. This is, I think, this is the truth. And the Christian ideology is very heavy supported by our state, because they know this mad thinking makes slaves out of everybody, without realizing that if you go into the church every Sunday, this is a sign you want to be a slave and nothing else. I like to walk here. I can relax in the forest. And it's nice that there are no secret agents at the moment. I can remember when Corona started, they really were chasing me like a rabbit also here in the forest. But in the last month, this went down. Yeah, some days ago, there was a young woman, maybe 25. She was quite good looking. She was a secret agent, I'm 100% sure. And they attacked me. She said, oh, oh, the system can destroy everybody. And I don't know the exact words, as she told it as if she meant this is good. Yes, it's good, and this shall be done with you. You know, it is not possible for me to detect these secret agents just at the beginning of a talk, because of course, they are polite. But I realize it always after I argued with them. But you know, it's not nice always to be alone. And I talk with people because I still have the hope that somebody realizes that there is an extreme violence done against my person. Well, but if not, okay, then that's just how I have to live. And you know, there were many people also in Germany and all over the world who had to go to jail for many years, for 10 years, 20 years, whole life. And they had bad food. And many were tortured in a brutal way. And yes, what they are doing with me is inquisition. I am convinced that my thoughts are very valuable for the society. So billions of euros are just thrown away by suppressing me. So it's not only a problem for me, this violence. This violence is a problem for the people in Germany or for the people worldwide. Yeah, and for example, and I say everybody shall go on strike. And it is also good that I am on strike, because I was a software developer. And as I'm not developing software right now, somebody in Africa can develop this software. That's nice. That's great, isn't it? They have a better chance. If all software developers in Germany would go on strike, stop working, then in the worldwide market there would be a very high, this is a theory of Marktwirtschaft, of the market, demand. If the demand goes up, the price goes up. So this would be good for all African people and also for all other people in the world if Germany stops. And I think Germany shall stop, because the capitalism and the trade is nothing else as exporting violence. This is a war, a trade war. Even if we don't call it trade war, since we made war, war is always, trade is always a kind of war. Yeah, but the inequality has never been so high. Jeff Bezos, it is incredible how rich he is. And I don't think he's stupid. But even if he is smart, I say the reason why he could have so much success is because of politics. Because the politicians are assholes. They only look at the needs for the rich, for those, they give the power to the rich ones, and yeah, and that's bad. Yesterday I've seen a YouTube video where they explained how the rich people in Japan, the state took the power from them. I didn't know that. It was interesting. So this shows in history it is possible, not only through a revolution, like the French Revolution or the American Revolution, it is also possible by a state without revolution to get those of power to push them down. Hello. Yeah, and the funny thing, what drives me mad is that people can't imagine that there are hundred thousands of people who work as secret agents as a second job. So it looks as if they would be, let's say, a taxi driver and not a secret agent, because they really work as taxi driver. Of course, maybe only 2 days a week, because I get so much money for listening and manipulating. For example, I have a sign on which is written, "I'm getting tortured by this state." And some people, some of these secret agents, they make me ridiculous. They say, "I have to pay taxes, I also get tortured." You know, this is something really different. I mean, I agree, yes, it is theoretically, if you pay a lot of taxes, this is annoying, of course. But you also have to see that the state also provides something, makes not only bad things with that money. But if you think I'm just kidding when I'm saying I'm getting destroyed, I'm getting tortured, I'm just exaggerating, well, then fuck off. Go to another video. Yeah, I really wonder. Many YouTubers, they are so styled. Oh wow, are they styled? Perfect ambiente, perfectly dressed, perfect light, perfect 4K crisp video quality, perfect sound. And they have already, they only read the text. So, you know, I have not thought about what I'm going to say now. And so I claim to be very authentic as philosopher. Not only because of this, but because I live my values. And I won't stop telling the people that I'm getting terrorized, by getting destroyed by terrorists, by German political terrorists, and that I want them to help me, and that capitalism destroys not only the climate, but also everybody who is weak, and especially also the women. You know, in Germany we work 40 hours a week. This is a normal job. And guess what? I believe that this is too much, not only for men, but especially for women. And so if they work over many years this amount, if they're doing this amount of work, then they get depressed and they get kind of weak or anxious, very anxious, and yeah, they get mad and they go to psychotherapists. And the psychotherapist will say, oh, maybe you should change your friend. But they will never say, look, you are a slave if you work 40 hours a week. Are you mad or what? You are a woman. 20 hours is enough. Nobody has to work more, at least not in Germany. And if I think at the poor Chinese, I feel so sorrow for them. Working 996 means working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Not on 5 days a week like here in Germany, but on 6 days a week. Come on, come on, this is madness. This is destroying people, destroying the youth, destroying the future. So no wonder women in China, in South Korea, in Japan don't want to make babies anymore. Hey, that's good. Not because I'm against Chinese people. Oh no. I think the whole world is much too crowded. Yeah. So I think it's good that women are stopping to get so many children. That's a very good thing. Although I see that many old people, especially in South Korea, in Japan, they won't have much money. They will almost starve when they are old because the state and nobody helps them. It's horrible. But still, I think it's better than if the planet is getting even more crowded every year. That's better if they stop producing babies. Yeah, and I like the movement in China. They call it lay flat. I like that very much. I think that's a great idea. And sometimes I think maybe we will see a revolution in China. Who knows? Because they won't be able to repair the system after the financial crash. The stock markets, they already have a crash. The real estate companies, they are all crashing. Turkey has no money, high inflation or deflation. Russia has huge problems. Yeah, and this stupid war. You know, I can't tell you how stupid I think this war is. And the funny thing is, Putin is doing the best to destroy Russia. Yes, because Sweden and Finland are getting NATO members. I guess Ukraine also wants to go in after this war. And yeah, and maybe also other countries, I don't know, in the long term, like Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and all these Asian countries. Of course, not India. They are strong and independent. And I don't know their political system. I don't know it good. And I know the caste system really sucks. But we have also caste system in Germany. And we only have 3 castes. We have the people with power, maybe 5% of the Germans. We have the slaves. Well, we have a lot of rich people too. Then we have a huge amount of slaves. We have a huge amount of slaves who work to suppress different people, different thinking people like me. And then there are the revolutionary people like me. And I guess I'm the only one in Germany who really fights hard. But I don't know, because we live in a dictatorship of information. The newspapers won't write anything about freedom fighters. So how shall I know? I have no idea. Maybe there are thousands beside me, or maybe 10,000, or even 100,000. I would be happy to know this. But the people who work at the university, they will not go out and look about this, or they will do this, but this will be secret. This will they will let it close the results of such research. Nobody will know how many freedom fighters are living today in Germany or in Europe or in the world. No. Yeah, Navalny, they tried to poison him. And now he sits in prison. And sometimes I think, yeah, at least he is well known. But to be honest, no, I don't want to go to the jail or to psychiatry just to be good known. This price would be too high for me. But if I have to go to psychiatry, I will do it. There is nothing I can change. And I thought maybe I will see the first time in my life another freedom fighter in psychiatry. Who knows? Maybe it's even fun to exchange. Yes, life is hard for me. And my family does not support me at all. There are no families anymore. There is no solidarity, not the slightest solidarity. And people do social work. They pretend or believe to do social work. But who integrates me? Nobody. Why not? Because they just can't. It's just fake. For money, they pretend to integrate somebody. They pretend to have respect against the client, against the poor, against the weak. But in reality, they are fascists. They see this drunk mother is weak, and I have to handle her because it's my job. If she's my neighbor, I don't mind. If she gets drunk, if she kills herself, if she has children, nobody cares about the children. I won't care, these people think. They have studied in Germany. They claim to be intellectuals. They claim to have values. They claim to be Christians. They claim to love the next. Oh no, to hate the next. This is the standard in Germany. And this is the fascism. Machiavellism, sadism, Nazism, and psychosis. These are the four, and normopathie. These are for me the 5 most important psychological diseases which are absolutely in everybody here in Germany. And yeah, there were some pubs. In the last years, I did not go often to the pubs. Since Corona, there was no chance, more or less no chance. I never went often to the pub, but I went. So there is one kind of club. This is from the state, It costs no entrance and no fee, and there are good prices. You can drink a coffee or a cup of water, I think, without paying or just donating something. Since Corona, they are closed. There's one pub in this part of the city I live in Ziegelhausen. It's called Rosenkeller. It's closed since Corona, more or less. There was one Irish pub in the city. They closed. And then there's another small pub in Ziegelhausen in my part town. They they didn't close. They now this pub changed the business. They make Corona tests, and I think this is exactly where they want us to go. The people with power. They want atomization. They analyze that I'm so lonesome. They really analyze this. How much I'm using my phone to phone with other people, how many minutes. There is no data protection in Germany. I think it's all fake. I believe this. I'm absolutely convinced about this. And my whole life is getting observed by secret agents. So they know I'm walking, for example, at the moment they know I'm walking here through the forest because my smartphone is connected to the internet. So they know I'm walking here. And they know where I'm talking with whom. They know absolutely everything about me, and they know I'm extremely lonesome. And guess what? They are happy because that's their goal. Yes, that's their goal. Because if everybody is lonesome only in his flat and in, let's say, in Facebook or in YouTube or so, then we can manage everything. We can control those. Of course, they say I'm against democracy and against the state of law. Of course, I'm a terrorist. They claim that I'm the terrorist. So Facebook or YouTube, I guess, with the algorithms, they tear me down. I can't even give proof of this because I have no access to the source code, which should be open source. So everybody. Not open source, but this code, the source code must be open. I demand for this in a real democratic society. So America is not a free country because I can't look into the Google algorithm, Facebook algorithm, and YouTube algorithm. And I hate censorship. And censorship is happening on YouTube very heavily. And this is censorship is getting bigger and bigger in YouTube. And many channels are getting demonetized, so they get no money or they make problems. And this is very obvious that these are only those who are on the left or on the right wing. Those who are not normopathic, who have different ideas, they are excluded. And the problem is that YouTube is so widespread and there is no alternative. And 2 years ago, when Corona started, until then, I thought it's more or less a free world. Although there were many signs that there is no freedom at all in my life. But I wanted to believe. I wanted to stick on this story that there is freedom. So I thought, if somebody wants to do the same like YouTube, he can do it. But I tell you something. Even if you have money, let's say 500,000 or million euros, if you implement a social platform with lower restrictions, lower censorship, you will realize that, let's say, somebody has broken into your office and stolen the computers. And you know what? You can't complain. You can just say, okay, there are thieves who want to steal a computer. But guess what? I'm convinced it's a secret. These are agents, secret agents. So there is no chance to develop a social platform. Even if you're a millionaire, and even if if you're like Jeff Bezos, yes, then you can buy Twitter. Yes, of course, that's possible. But there are maybe 100 or let's say 1,000. There are 1,000 people worldwide who could produce and try to implement an alternative to YouTube or to Facebook or so whatever. So a new a progressive social network. And Telegram, they are also trying to destroy the complete privacy, the protection of what you are doing on Telegram. The German or the European politicians, they also want to look in everything. And I say this is paranoia, this is madness, and this is no good. No, this is no freedom. This is another word for hate. Censorship is another word for hate. It's the beginning of the end. Just like fascist Germany and fascist Italy in the 1930s and 40s last century. You know, my life was long, almost 60 years. And it is so strange that I haven't met one friend. I haven't got one friend in my whole life. And guess what? Guess why? Because my whole life was planned and destroyed by an organization. And and all jobs, or almost all contacts I had was all manipulated. Were almost all secret agents. And of course I thought, well, maybe I'm not polite enough. Maybe I'm a strange guy. This is what they want me to believe. And I say, no, not I am strange. I'm a genius. And that what's strange is that I'm for solidarity, that I'm for the weak, that I'm speak up for the poor, that I'm against the people with power. That's strange about me. Yeah. And I have no idea what I could change or do to get a friend. If you have an idea for me, just write it into the comments. But beware, I have no money. I can't fly into another country. And I have no car. So it's even difficult to reach, for example, Frankfurt am Main or Berlin. Then there's another funny thing. There is a camp music festival camp near Berlin happening this May, end of May. And I tell you, absolutely everything what is happening in Germany is getting controlled by the secret agency. I applied to buy a ticket. This was on a Tuesday, 8 p.m. I went to the website and it took me about 4 minutes to click on the button, and then there was written all tickets are already sold 4 or 5 minutes after the time when the start of the ticket selling has happened. Then they told, there was written I could go apply, so if somebody gives his ticket back I could maybe get a ticket, but I haven't heard anything from them. And I'm convinced that the Secret Service is just, they have their finger in everything. Yeah, there has been a hedonist. There are people who claim to be hedonists, but I don't believe it. I've never met somebody who I believe is a hedonist. There are only sex addicts, of course, and transgender and homosexuals. No, I'm not against them, not at all. But there is hedonism is a philosophy, a concept of philosophy, and it is also, there are different views on this topic. And of course, as you maybe already know, I'm also a big I'm a big proclaimer of sexual morals, and I say sexual morally correct is a woman only if she offers me to have sex for, let's say, 20 or 200 euros. Then she is acting as she should. Yeah. So the bitches are, well, maybe that's also not correct, but they are at least somehow better than the average women. Average Catholic or Protestant or Mormon or fundamental Muslim people. So hedonism also means just to have fun, casual sex with fun. And I tell you, no, there are only fascists who have casual sex with fun, and they only have this sex with other people who believe that our politicians are not terrorists, but they do hard work. And they believe that Angela Merkel, who gets 15,000 euro per month, now as she's stopped working, I say this is a proof for corruption. I say it is not more easy to see that the whole state is corrupt in Germany. So these hedonists, they claim to be different, and maybe they are a bit different. They drive maybe not an SUV, but a small car, and they don't spend their money to buy a house, but they go often in vacation trips. They've been in Vietnam and Laos and China, and yeah, and they know the world. Oh, how ridiculous. Oh, I hate these people. And then they ask me, have you been in Asia? No, I haven't. And I don't have to be there. It is ridiculous to believe I have to be there, to know a lot more than those who have been there. More about culture, history, politics, values, religions, geopolitics. Yes, I'm the man with knowledge, but they don't like people with knowledge, because then it gets clear they are only addicts to consumption. And I tell you also why I don't have problems to go to a restaurant in Germany. Because I don't like if those people who serve me, if they stand with these like soldiers with special clothes from their job. They have to wear these clothes, not their private clothes. No. And then they say, hello, my sir, what do you want? So they pretend a fake empathy. All day they are in stress, and they just don't mind, they don't give a shit about you. But they pretend. And many people like it. Like to get served by people who pretend to be happy, to be their slaves. And especially, this is especially in poor countries, for me a problem. I don't know if you understand it, but it breaks my heart if people look at me as if I would be a god, and I just had the luck to come to this world in Germany and not in Eritrea. And so that's the reason, because we exploit all Africans. We exploit the Chinese. We exploited the weak. We destroy the country with the huge amount of capital. We exploit. And then we go in vacations, we make trips, and then we say, oh, these nice Indians, these nice Chinese guys, oh, they are so cute. And they are happy if you give them, let's say, $1, then they will say 10 times thank you and treat you as if you would be a ghost or a god or somebody, a genius, and you are just an fascist egoist who only looks to get the most from his money. Yeah, here is the part of Ziegelhausen where I live. It is called Peterstal. My house is about this house, this one, but my flat goes to the back, to the hill. Okay, that's it. I hope you had fun, and I wish that you write something as a sign of respect, that you write something in a comment. Of course, not hello.